This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities, your first stop on the road to becoming an entrepreneur. I'm Scott Sander. Etymologists say the word entrepreneur crossed over from French to English sometime 17th or 18th century. We use it often as we help you cross over from dreams of running a business to actually doing it. Each week we introduce you to people who've taken that first step toward business ownership. They tell us their stories, how they got started in business, gained access to capital, how they run their business day to day. We also have regular contributors who cover the week in business and experts at managing money who talk about accounting and bookkeeping. We focus on a different industry every week and always wrap things up with a success story. We're here with a new show every week on Wish TV. You can live stream us at wishtv.com as well. We post each of our 7 weekly segments from past shows on our website, BE&O.com. Please do watch and share them. While you're there, listen to our Business, Equity, and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and our team updates that every Tuesday. For now, today, let's get to the business of business and what's happening on today's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. The Department of Transportation has some opportunities you may be able to seize. Courtney Kincaid warns of tax scams. We look at the world of esports, and we'll have an inspirational success story. First, let's get started. We meet a lifelong Hoosier who keeps his keen eye on his business as a professional photographer. He's also certified with the Office of Minority and Women Business Development and is the Vendor of the Month for August. Let's meet Don Briggs.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Well, my company is a global photography company. The people that I work for, our organizations are Fortune 500 companies, cover construction companies, architectural companies. We do corporate photography for major corporations. We do small events also. Well, I started when I was a teenager. When I was about 16 years old, I loved photography, and I always wanted to do photography. And my mom supported me, and one day she bought me a camera. And it started from there, and it's been there ever since. I have worked with a guy that was my mentor. He worked for the state as a photographer. He taught me a lot about photography. He's no longer around now, but just happy that he was there for me. And I try to mentor people myself. I've volunteered for certain things we're going on, like for instance, this CLD. It deals with a lot of young kids and things, and I used a lot of my tools and talent to help them. As far as when we had programs going, I'd volunteer my time and talent. It was a surprise to me. I got an email one day, and it said that I had been nominated for Vendor of the Month. And I said, well, is this a real email or is it a fake one? So I looked into it more and found out it was, and I'm like, wow, it was an honor that I was receiving this. I think a lot of vendors out there that are trying to be entrepreneurs out there, it's a good thing that the city's doing this for them. It can be a tough environment. It's so much competition. Anymore, everybody has cell phones and they think they can be a photographer with the cell phone. You'll get a picture out of it, but as I tell a lot of my clients, I don't do pictures, I do photographs. It's a difference. Well, I come from a field, in the photography field, where it was film. And I had to develop my craft because then you didn't see your final product until it was developed. With photographers now, you have digital, and digital you can see it instantly. So I think it made me a better photographer coming from that direction. And then when I started working with digital, I still had the talent. I just had to learn the new technology. It's really changing. And I just listened recently here on, I guess it was on the news, they really talked about AI and how AI is starting to take over the industry as far as photography. And my thoughts on it is AI is okay, but you still got to have the talent to really do a job that you need to do as far as a photographer, because you're creating what's in you, not some computer doing the job for you. When I first started in photography, the playing field wasn't as level for me because there wasn't a lot of minority photographers here in the city. I was one of a few, and the type of photography I did was at a different level, because as a young guy, when I first got into photography and learned it and saw the kind of images that I was putting out, and I realized, hey, I can make money off of this, because I saw some of the other professionals that were doing things out there. And of course, I was a little amateur at the time, and my images were surpassing some of those images, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do, see if I can make money. Well, I've learned it, well, what I do, it helps people. And it makes me feel good as a professional photographer to see a person's expression, hear what they have to say, to give the emotions that come out of it. What makes me feel good. I'm even more, I like to pay, but to be able to see somebody and you're making someone's day when you bring out what they have inside. I try to involve everybody when I'm doing photography. I make them feel like they're part of what I'm doing, make them comfortable. So when I do take the shot, it comes out, you can see it in them. I want to make them feel the emotions behind it. I want them to remember what they went through to get this final product, and remember me, of course. I want them to feel joy inside. I want them to feel like this is the best experience they've ever had. My wife will make me leave my camera at home at times. Just leave it. You don't need to take it with you. And I say, but that'll be the moment that perfect shot happened, and I don't have my camera. My advice would be hone your craft. That's what you do. You work at your craft until, as I say, that camera becomes part of your body, your hand. Every time you touch it, you know exactly what your camera is going to do and what you're capable of doing with the camera.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If you'd like more information about Briggs Professional Photography, or you'd like to get your small business certified with the Office of Minority and Women Business Development, we have links at BE&O.show.com. Scan the QR code that's on your screen. It'll take you right there. If you have information that's helped you launch or operate a small business, tell us how you're doing. We'd love to share your story. Send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. After the break, if your business is looking for contracts through the state, INDOT has opportunities.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Welcome to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to talk accessing capital. To procure something means to get it, obtain it. When a government agency offers procurement opportunities, it's a call out to all who offer goods and services who then bid on a contract. In this case, it's the Department of Transportation knocking on doors. Here's what you need to know to answer.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
I work for the DBE program. Equity Initiative Services is our division's name. And what we do is we certify women and minority-owned business to participate in US DOT funded projects across the state. Most people don't know what the DBE program is. If you're familiar with minority goal programs, they're usually the OMWBD program. A lot of people call them MBE programs that the state has through the Indiana Department of Administration. The city has a statewide program as well. The city is a little unique. They also certify, IDOA certifies veterans as well. City certifies veterans and disabled people, along with women and minorities. But the DBE is transportation industry specific. It is through the U.S. Department of Transportation, so any funding received from U.S. Department of Transportation usually has a DBE goal attached. There are some rare exceptions. Most of the funding in the state comes through Fed Highway, so INDOT, roads, everything around you. The FAA, so Federal Aviation Administration, airports receive a lot of funding through US DOT, FTA, Federal Transit Administration, transit lines, railroads, things like that, receives funding. INDOT is the sole certifier for the DBE program in the state. It's an interesting program because unlike their standard MBE-WEB programs, it also has a financial component. So basically, no multimillionaires can qualify for the program. Your business has to be a small business by SBA standards. So it's specifically for women and minority-owned small businesses. Anyone is eligible, but the businesses that usually find it most useful are either transportation businesses or transportation adjacent businesses. The two biggest categories, so there's two sides to most construction projects. You have the design phase, which we call consultants. So your engineers, your surveyors, everything that goes into designing a project. And that's pretty much true across the board. So if you're looking at an Indigo project, there's a phase where they're developing the project. And then you have the construction side. So the people that actually go out and, mill the roads, pour the asphalt, do the concrete, do the striping, do the traffic control, do the barrier walls, all that sort of thing. So you also have components where people who do like professional outreach, so public outreach for the programs, they can participate as well. So it's a pretty broad range. As long as you're transportation or transportation adjacent, you'll find a place within the DBE program. The DBE program is governed by CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. We are limited to a 90-day processing time once a file is considered in good order by the CFR. However, we're pretty efficient. We have an electronic program. Everything we do is electronic, and we usually run about 30 days. So you can sign up to receive notifications both on the construction side and the consulting side. And most like larger recipients of the federal funds have similar websites, like Indianapolis Airport Authority has a great website. It's very similar to INDOT's, so you can receive notifications from them as well. Indigo, it's across the board. You can sign up for notifications anywhere you want to. The certification is good for as long as you qualify for the program or you withdraw from the program. You never have to renew the certification. Once you're certified, you're certified. The only thing you have to do, you have to submit a no change affidavit on an annual basis, which is a pretty simple process. Some of the most popular areas are haulers, so people who drive triaxles. Always plenty of work for that. Flagging, traffic control, things like that are always needed. Oh, the future is fantastic. So a few years ago, Indiana passed a gas tax, which almost doubled INDOT's budget. So, and INDOT kind of went, okay, we've got all this money. We better prove to our taxpayers that we can do something with it. So all these big projects that are going on, and then you had the bipartisan infrastructure bill to happen. So over the next year, we're going to even get more funding. And then right now, like we have the huge ORX project that's just starting down in Evansville. That project is going to run, I think, for almost a total of 10 years. So if you get involved in that project, potentially you have 10 years worth of business. So we get funding from the Federal Highway Administration to run supportive services programs for the DBE businesses. So those entail, you can get a free capability statement, you can get a marketing plan, you can get a business plan, you can get a website developed. We offer a suite of business classes because we have a business development program. So especially if you're first getting into business, the classes can be very helpful. And it's 6 weeks, it runs over a 6-week program. Get on INDOT's website, look at the process for application. You don't need someone to, you don't need to go out and hire someone to do it for you. Email us, eisinquiry@indot.in.gov, ask for a business consult. We will talk to you. We my colleague Zola, who's standing off camera, we get paid to talk to you about your business and if it fits well in the program and exactly how to go about the process. So that's what we love talking to people. So just email us, say you'd like a business consult. We'll set up a call with you.
If you'd like to learn more about procurement opportunities with INDOT, the links are on our website, BE&O.com. We're putting up the QR code on your screen. You can scan that with your phone. It'll take you right there.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
This week in business, the Indy Black Chamber held an event, a panel discussion about leveraging your business. We talked to one of the sponsors, John Brand from Butler, Fairman and Seufert.
Yeah, our firm and Tanisha and I were happy to be a part of this. It was a forum to express the opportunities in our business, in civil engineering particularly, both for larger firms like us, and then it was great for Jarvis to be able to share his success story on how he's grown his business. We've been able to mentor and be a part of his journey along the way, and I think it was helpful for people to see the success that he's had in a short period of time. So we're civil engineers. We're located here in Indianapolis, in the Nora area. We design roads and bridges, water, wastewater, but really what our purpose is we make communities better. We help them solve their problems, tackle their infrastructure issues, and it's very gratifying to make communities better. We're a bigger company, 200 employees. To hear some of from the panel and then also some of the people that attended, the issues and challenges with capital when you start a business. We're 60 years old, so I wasn't there when we actually started this business. So to understand those particular issues, how we can help smaller businesses as they start with that particular issue on capital, that was something that came through loud and clear. The other thing is just to make them aware of the opportunities in our industry. I think civil engineering and infrastructure goes under the radar a little bit. Jarvis made the point that the water you drink, the shower you take, the roads, the trails, airplanes, moving people back and forth, that's what we do. Everyone needs it. It's great to benefit communities. Our relationship with Jarvis has been, his business is 4 or 5 years old. He's gone to 55 employees in a very short period of time. We will be excited when the day comes when he wins a big project and we're a part of his team. That's a win for us, that's a win for him as well. That's ultimately what we want to have happen on firms that we work with. They grow, we grow, and then together, if he brings projects to us, then we know he's doing great. I think Tanisha did a great point during the panel. You have to network every day. The people that you know, how do you leverage those opportunities? Somebody that you meet today may a decade from now benefit you and your business. So get out there, make yourself known, get around the right people, get involved with associations. Be where decision makers are. So in our particular industry, if we do work in Marion County for City of Indianapolis, there are requirements when we contract with the city as the lead firm to make sure we have the right minority, women, disadvantaged business enterprise. That's required for us to win those projects. That's one way to do it. The other way is just make sure we hire intentionally with diversity. Jarvis didn't start out his company at day one. He went to a different firm, learned to do things. That's our part in that as well, is just our workforce be more diverse. Well, we're headquartered here in Indianapolis. We work throughout the state of Indiana. We've been able to grow to 200 employees. Most of what we do is just here in Indiana. It's a very encouraging time in infrastructure, in construction. Our biggest challenge as we go forward is workforce to get the job done. And we're competing with many, many industries. So we need to get the word out, be more intentional about the opportunities. I think in the past, maybe we kind of sit and wait for people to come to us. We need to be more intentional and go to them. An example is our firm will be involved with the STEM activities at North Central High School, right across the street from us. couple years ago, we probably waited for them to come to us. We need to go to them and make those opportunities clear and support them. IEDC, the Department of Administration, INDOT, those entities that we work for, where they encourage diversity and make sure that we bring those people along. Contractually, we need to do that. Those are good things. They make it happen. In our particular industry, it's the data is, I think we are exporting engineers in our state. If we look at Purdue, Rose-Hulman, Trine, the engineering universities, they're global and people that they attract. I think the data would support that we're exporting. We need to get to where we are importing engineers, make sure the right number and the right people that get into here in Indiana that they want to stay, and make sure we do that, intentional in doing that. So we need a little help from our higher education institutions to make sure we want to attract and retain and actually import engineers. Yeah, I think we've hit the inflection point where in our particular industry, the inflationary costs or impacts, those are big for our owners. We're seeing some easing of that. A project that we would plan 3 or 4 years ago, now we bid the project and what it costs. If it's 20% more, that's a pleasant surprise. If it's 40%, then we have a problem. So I think we're able to now look past some of the COVID, those particular things and cost escalation. It's not back to where it was. I don't think it will return to that, but we can kind of put our eye out there a little bit further now. Our state is in a great fiscal position. We're not buying as much as we thought we would buy 2-3 years ago, but with our reserves, with a really strong program that INDOT has, we are the crossroads of America. They continue to leverage that advantage for our state. I'm actually in a study committee this fall. They will look at our transportation program, looking out in 20 years to make sure that we stay in a great place with our transportation. That's one of our assets that we have here in Indiana. We are civil engineers, that's how we do things, but what we do is make communities better. It's very gratifying to drive through a community, see trails, water treatment, these different things that we do that just make their communities better. It's a great impact for them. It's a very noble and we love doing that to help make communities better. Not too many people would say that's a bad thing to do to help communities better. So it's gratifying. 40 years into it, I still really enjoy it.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
If your business has an event you'd like us to mention on our show, send us an email 3 weeks ahead of time at BE&O@wishtv.com. Up later, running your business day to day. Before that, though, Courtney Kincaid on tax scams.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Every year around tax time, we hear warnings about people and businesses getting caught in tax scams. Predators certainly target both. In accounting and bookkeeping, our longtime contributor, Courtney Kincaid, offers tips on how to avoid being a victim.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just some tax scams, because although most people think about April 15th as a tax deadline, the truth is about 20 million taxpayers will extend their individual returns to October 15th. So we're still very much in tax season, and we're still getting some notifications from the IRS about new, sophisticated, and some not so sophisticated scams that are popping up. Ways that you can tell if you are in a phishing scam with the IRS is, first, the IRS publishes these common schemes on their website. So a nice first step, if you get something that seems suspicious, is to go out to their website. These perpetrators don't necessarily do really sophisticated scams, they are just doing a bunch of it and hope a few people fall for it, right? So if you look there, you might even find exact text that looks like the message that you received. And these messages are coming from a variety of sources. And so the IRS wants taxpayers to remember that they will never contact you initially via text message. They'll never initiate conversation via social media channel or via email. Another important thing to remember is they will never request information via email or text that relates to personal information or payment information. So a lot of these scams rely on receiving that kind of information from you from these easy, quick resources. And the IRS never solicits that kind of information via these ways. Another really common scam is via phone. Someone calls posing as an IRS agent and immediately demanding payment. These are usually identified by the immediacy and the threats that come with them. Threatening to bring in local law enforcement if the amount is not paid, threatening that there will be significant fines or penalties if they're not paid immediately. The IRS provides taxpayers with ways to appeal, and it gives a more lengthy process. So anything that demands immediacy or brings in local law enforcement is certainly suspicious. There's also another scam that's really become popular this summer, and the IRS notified taxpayers in July. And this one kind of seems a more optimistic notification, right? And it tells the individual that they're eligible for a refund. This is also a scam that comes through the US mail. It looks very official. It's on IRS letterhead, but it includes some odd wording and some odd punctuation. But again, it's looking for that private information. It's looking for the individual's social security number. It's looking for their mailing address, their phone number. And this is published on the site that we will give you today. And make sure you're just going out there and checking when you receive these communications. So what should you do if you are targeted by a scammer? Obviously, there is no obligation from the taxpayer to do anything. And sometimes I'm sure that taxpayers don't do anything. They know it's a scam and they just say, ugh. And, you know, unfortunately, we are bombarded with these messages, but we really do encourage that you report these, because as people report these, that's what goes on the website that helps other people identify these. And again, we will provide you with the email address. It's really simple. If it is coming in via phone, record the number before you hang up. If it is a text, you can send an image to this specific email address. It really does help. And always, if you have any questions about whether something is legitimate, your CPA can certainly help you probably very quickly identify whether it's a legitimate request or not. The notifications and the communication received from the IRS is very standardized. They have a great familiarity with what to expect, how to expect it be received, and how long you have to respond.
You can see all of our accounting and bookkeeping segments at BEOshow.com. Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you there. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter that our team updates every Tuesday, and subscribe to the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. Listen to our contributors on your schedule. Up next,
Is Threads the new Twitter? This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
In today's Running Your Business segment, Wish TV's Lakin McGee speaks to Circulus Digital Media's GM, Nelson Spade, about Threads, Meta's new entry in the social media landscape. Key question, is Threads the new Twitter?
After months of rumors, Meta, the parent company to Facebook and Instagram, launched text-based app Threads earlier in July. Users and industry experts were quick to point out the similarities of Threads to Elon Musk's Twitter. Well, we're welcoming Nelson Spade here, the general manager of Circulus Digital Media. So Threads is kind of off to a fast start. I know a lot of people have signed up. What's your take on it?
Threads is off to a very fast start. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta's CEO and president of Threads, was very quick to point out in its first 5 days, Threads amassed over 100 million new users. That gives it the claim of saying it's the fastest growing social media app in history.
Wow, really?
It's true. That being said, though, it didn't just grow these users out of thin air. It had Instagram to benefit from and build off of. Keeping in mind, it's not about users, it's about activity from those users. So we'll see if they can keep drawing people back. There's no doubt they capitalized in their launch timing. Mm-hmm. There's arguably instability and changes going on at Twitter. And they launched in the heart of summer, right after July 4th, where there wasn't a lot going on. They got a lot of press, in the market. The long-term question is, what's Threads' identity going to be? There's a clear demand for text-based social media. I think it's very smart of Meta to make it its own app as opposed to building on the back of Instagram or Facebook, but time will tell. The market will respond.
Yeah, really. And I see on Instagram, a lot of people are putting their Threads handle. Mm-hmm. I'm not a person that has signed up yet, but do you think that Threads will be the new Twitter?
Time will tell. That is certainly the question. I don't think it needs to be the new Twitter for it to succeed, however. Keep in mind, when you're comparing apples to apples, if Instagram converts 1 out of every 4 of its users, just 1 out of 4, to Threads, it is immediately already larger than Twitter.
Really?
That's how the dichotomy of social media fragmentation works. The big thing, though, too, is it's not about users. It's about activity from those users and usage. So Threads needs to consistently be adding new features, in our opinion, to get that engagement and to get new users to try them. For example, just a few days ago, Threads launched the follow feature, which was being asked for by its users quite regularly. All that being said, Twitter is extremely culturally relevant. It's embedded into a lot of industries, the sports industry extremely highly. Time will tell. There's a core following dating back to when Twitter even launched.
So how is Threads going to benefit from its parent company, Meta?
There's a lot of opportunity here. Keeping in mind, Meta doesn't have a whole lot to lose here. It potentially has a lot to gain, dependent upon how Threads is received in the market. 2 things we should really consider from that perspective. From a revenue perspective, the business side of it, there's a lot of upside potentially with instability and people not knowing what's happening on the Twitter side. Throw out a number here. The bank advisor Evercore ISI estimated in the next 18 months, Threads could amass somewhere around $8 billion in revenue. Keep in mind, $8 billion is a big number. That's less than 10% of Meta's revenue globally. 10% still 10%, and we'll always take a 10% increase. The second piece is it really could give Meta an additional peer to stand on and fight against its real competitor in the social media space, TikTok.
Yes, it is. Nelson, thank you. We appreciate it. We'll
Thanks for having me.
Keep checking in with you to see how this is going to go. We appreciate it. If you want to know more about our digital business, you can reach out to Nelson at the email address. You see it right there on your screen. That's going to be contact@circulusdigital.com.
Running your business day to day is made possible by Circulus Digital Media. Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Coming up, our success story. First, though, not all football fame comes from on-the-field versions of the game. Ready Player One, we take a video game view in our industry focus. This is Business Equity and Opportunities, and our industry focus. Esports, short for electronic sports, is the booming field of highly competitive video game play. At its highest levels, esports feature organized multiplayer video game competitions between expert, even professional players. When young gamers want to gather in central Indiana, Yes Gaming is there.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry focus.
Esports is really about competitive gaming. It's been around for almost 30 years. Started in the early 90s with Nintendo. Nintendo used to be really big in the competition gaming world and did some of the first championships. And so it was very much originally based around the gaming manufacturers. And then as that evolved into the early 2000s, a lot of the players themselves started getting into establishing their own leagues and their own tournaments, and really you saw esports kind of grow from a grassroots groups, such as what we have here in Fishers, where the national scene wasn't as connected as it is starting to become today. And now you do have national leagues, you do have now professional groups that are now forming leagues around certain games. But unlike traditional sports, right now esports is very open because there isn't one specific game people play. You think of traditional sports, baseball, basketball, football, you think of that one game. Esports, people try to encompass it as one thing, but it's really a multitude. You've got fighting games, you've got racing games, you've got shooting games. There's a lot of different games that encompass esports, and a lot of people try to say it or group it all together as one thing, but really what esports is a collective of any type of competitive electronic gaming. Mobile games can be esports, console games are esports, PC games are esports. It's really evolved to now any type of electronic gaming. In the Olympics, they just feature chess as an esport, which as a former chess player and used to play in chess tournaments as a kid and won a few chess tournaments, I never thought of chess as a electronic game or an esport. Several years ago, just before COVID, I was in Las Vegas in 2019. I got the chance to go into a Razer facility. Razer is a gaming manufacturer, one of the kind of best, more recognized gaming manufacturers here in America, really getting me excited about PC gaming and competitive gaming. I got home, started thinking about this as a whole, like, wow, what a really awesome facility that was, and why don't we have anything like that around here? I actually started talking to the local coach here. We have 2 high schools here locally that were just starting esports programs. I reached out to one of the coaches and asked them, where are you playing? Because I want to get my kids involved with esports, but where do I send them to? Where can they go and practice and play? Unlike, baseball or golf, right? There's a golfing range or a batting cage I can send them to. I wanted to know where will my kids go to get good or become part of these teams. And unfortunately, the coach informed me that there was no place locally to play, that all the kids were just playing at their houses by themselves and talking over, chats and discords. And so I realized that, oh man, there's a really big need for this. My kids would obviously be able to benefit from something like this, and I know other kids around the local area would certainly be able to benefit as well. And I started working with the coach to figure out what kind of facility could we put together that would help benefit the teams and the coaches and the parents and players. Unlike other gaming centers where they just put a bunch of consoles or games in there, we really wanted to be focused around the teams and esports and really training and giving the kids a place where they can play together and be able to get good and have an advantage. Some people might have a good internet setup at home. Some people might not. Some people might have a really fast computer, some people don't. And so when you're all playing at home, you might have one kid that's got all these great things and then somebody else that may not have that same advantage. When they come here, they're all getting that same high advantage on really great fiber dedicated network, on great gaming PCs that have all the advantage for them so that everybody's able to compete at the same level and be able to hopefully win. And that's what we're looking for is some of these players, they're trying to get college scholarships. They are looking to get on pro teams. They're looking to start streaming or content careers. They want to get into game development or game testing. And so So being able to have a place where they can come together, play together, get good, and get that recognition, and hopefully help them reach their dreams was what we were trying to aspire for, and why we wanted to start this and how we got this off the ground. And just as a whole, the esports industry right now is about $1 billion a year, they estimate, and they're saying between now and 2030, they're expecting it to grow to $5 billion. So tremendous growth opportunity over the next 6 to 7 years. So as a whole, esports is just, there's a lot of eyeballs on it. There's a lot of attention. So there's going to be tons of opportunities for both going pro. They're signing young kids, teenagers to $1 million contracts. So there's tremendous opportunities within the gaming industry for both professionals as well as players, as well as people supporting the industry, broadcasting and IT and other things.
If you'd like to learn more about Yes Gaming, the link is at BE&Oshow.com. Quick way there is to use your phone and scan the QR code on your screen. Feel free always to share these segments with friends and business partners through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email. There are buttons for all and more just below the video on our website. When we return, it is our success story, so stay with us. Time for a favorite segment here on Business Equity and Opportunities, our success story. It starts with two teenagers identifying a need. They start to service that need. Word spreads, more people want the service. Teens realize they're onto something. So after some time in the military, the friends decide to start their own business, renting jet skis. Like many young minority entrepreneurs, they found the seas of small business choppy at times, a predator or two in the waters too. But they're managing adversity and jet skiing toward success.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
We are Jet Ski Indy. We are Indianapolis's first jet ski delivery service that is based on deliveries. So we service all of the DNR lakes here in the state of Indiana. So we deliver jet skis, so you book with us on our website or over the phone, and then you schedule your drop-off location, and then we bring the skis to you at that location. It's nice because we're able to offer full-day rentals, hourly rentals, and even multi-day packages, so we're pretty different compared to other traditional jet ski rentals.
We kind of grew up together. Our families were very close. They're both from a small country in Africa called Zimbabwe. So, you know, we stayed together when I was maybe 5, Golden was 6, all the way up to our early teens, and then we got separated after some time. But when I entered high school and Golden was already in his freshman year, then our families moved closer together here in Indianapolis. And that's when we kind of reconnected and had the idea of Jet Ski Indy. The company was started by us in middle of 2021, late 2021. And the idea stemmed from us having this big body of water here, but not really having the means to explore it. So, and the reason we couldn't explore it is because in order to rent here, you have to be 25 years or older, which we weren't or still not. So I ended up buying a jet ski together, a cheap one. It was like a 1996 Yamaha Wave Runner. And after purchasing it, we saw how much people enjoyed it and thought, you know, we can do something with this.
Our biggest problem when it came to starting this company was trying to figure out how to get on this body of water. You know, so we purchased our skis, got our operational stuff in order, and we were actually set to launch on Geist Reservoir last year, but we weren't able to get that contract fulfilled with our local marina just due to some regulations and things that they had going on, so they weren't able to help us. So that's kind of where we hit a pivot with our company. So instead of just being based on one lake here in Indianapolis, we thought, we're like, hold on, why don't we try to service the greater Indianapolis area and in Indiana as a state as a whole. So we kind of shifted over to the delivery aspect of jet ski rentals, and that's what's been working for us since. So that's kind of where we've been shifting towards.
We had the idea to go for DNR and any public body of water rather than private, just because of the incident here with Geist. You know, they didn't want people renting on it because it was private, and so we understood that, and that's when we said, okay, we have to make a pivot to be able to accommodate those rules, but also still be able to provide this opportunity. So with the public bodies of water and the DNR, we had to purchase DNR passes, so we have access to all those statewide parks and bodies of water. With us being a delivery-based service, we kind of had to just make sure that our pricing and everything was at least like within market for other jet ski rentals.
while also being able to make sure that we're profitable as well. So since we're still smaller, we're not taking any of our profits currently. We're putting all that back towards the company since we still have payments and stuff to make. We have fuel to pay for to get to all these places and outreach and do things of that nature. But we've just been growing, and between the 2 skis that we have, we're able to, keep our overhead costs, down to a minimum. So like we're good for the next year. So we're getting ready to figure out when we want to wrap up for this season. But the next steps are to go ahead and start figuring out expansion and going that way.
Everything since we started the company has been 100% either us reaching in our pockets for it or, trying to find things to sell to make up money to make payments and, rentals as well.
We're currently working on the Find Your Wave initiative. That's our slogan. It's Jet Ski Indy Find Your Wave. And our purpose behind that is it goes beyond just being out in the water. It's just being able to find your wave in life. So our goal is to help other young entrepreneurs to be able to find those resources, and we can be able to mentor them and show them the roads and the avenues that we went through starting our business to be able to help them to be able to pursue their hobbies and turn them into careers if they so choose. So our next goals right now is to, one, expand our company and be able to purchase more units. So we decided to go ahead and start a GoFundMe page for our company, it's just through our website, so we can be able to raise funds for increasing the number of units in our fleet, while also being able to start on this other project so we can start helping other entrepreneurs as well.
So at first it was a struggle, and we ran into a lot of obstacles that we could have avoided if we had a little more knowledge. But now that we've got things going, we've reached to a lot of friendly communities of entrepreneurs and business owners and people who rent other boats or PWCs on the water, and they've given us a lot of advice, and we've taken that, and we're growing from that.
To me, success is just putting your mind to anything you choose to do, and really make sure that you're enjoying what you do. I think for the two of us, we have so much fun getting to visit all the different bodies of water across the lake and really just get to be our own bosses and really just shape the narrative for the book that we're writing. And our story isn't close to being over with Jet Ski Indy and the projects that we want to do with this, since we have such big dreams and aspirations for it. So we plan to just pursue it full on and try to become as successful as we can be while having fun. Although we have Jet Ski Indy, we're both in college, we're both in school full time because we have other things that we want to pursue as well. For me, I'm public health pre-med at the University of Kentucky, and I'm going into my senior year, and I want to be able to bridge the gap between healthcare and entrepreneurship to bring resources and job opportunities to a lot of the people that need them in rural communities in different areas. So I feel like with Jet Ski Indy in particular, this has really helped me get the foot in the door and get the experience that I need when it comes to operations, launching a company, figuring out budgeting, logistics, all the nitty and gritty, down to what color should we make the website. So a lot of those things have really helped me to grow in the aspect of just business. But as soon as I'm done, I go through medical school. I want to be able to change the narrative for a lot of places within Indiana, back in Kentucky where I go to school, and overseas in Zimbabwe where we come from.
Yeah, and for me, I go to school at the University of Cincinnati. I'm doing computer science there, and I'm also a reservist in the United States Marine Corps. I learned a lot of discipline while I was in my service, and while I'm still continuing to serve. And I feel like that really applies well to the business. And Golden, he has a lot of discipline naturally. I feel like that's another thing we can help in terms of helping younger entrepreneurs, is being able to tell yourself to get up, do this, motivate yourself, and not slack off anything, because it's not easy work.
That is Business Equity and Opportunities for today. We thank everybody who participated. If you want more information about the topics on the broadcast, find our links at BE&O.show.com. Scan the QR code on your screen. While you're there, look for past segments from each of our weekly topics. Watch them, download them, use the buttons just underneath them to share them on social media. Listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for the newsletter. We update every Tuesday. And if you have questions or a success story to share, shoot us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We will see you next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation, InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, Fifth Third Bank, and IU Indianapolis.